This forum is being live streamed to our League YouTube channel. To those in the virtual space, thank you for joining us. We refer to these primary forums as virtual doorbelling. We will ask a short series of questions, the kind of questions you might ask of a candidate who came to your door. Our questions are designed to give you a clear idea of each candidate's experience and the issues they believe are important to address. A recording of the forum will be available on this same YouTube channel for later viewing. Let me provide some background on the position. Council members manage basic public services, sewer, water, fire, police, roads, parks, and so on. They establish and enforce local laws affecting individuals and businesses, including local taxes. They control how land can be used and provide direction to the mayor or the city manager. They manage relationships with other governments, nonprofits, and businesses for the benefit of city residents. Candidates for the City of Brier Council Position 4 are Derek Hamilton, Valerie Rosman, and Christopher Young. The League thanks all the candidates for running for office, for their willingness to serve the community if elected, and for participating in this forum. It is the policy of the League to be nonpartisan. Therefore, we neither endorse nor oppose candidates or parties. We do take positions on issues which we have studied and on which we have reached consensus. The rules for forum participation were sent ahead of time to all participants, and they have agreed to engage in respectful communication throughout the event. Let us briefly explain the question and answer period rules, and then we can begin. I will pose the questions and will clearly state the amount of time allowed for each answer. We are using a countdown timer visible to all candidates, and time limits on answers will be strictly enforced. I will change the starting order for each question, alternating candidates in the starting position to ensure a fair sequence. The order for the first question will be Christopher Young, then Derek Hamilton, then Valerie Rosman. The question is, what are the major issues you feel need to be addressed by this office? Please explain why you are focusing on these issues in 2 minutes. Mr. Young.
Thank you very much. My name is Christopher Young. My major issues that I want to address in this role of the City of Brier Councilman is, first of all, safety. In the past 2 years, we've seen a major increase in our police presence brought on by a fantastic police chief named Nick Almquist. Through his leadership and the support of some of the members of City Council, we have seen a reduction in crime, an increase in police relationship with the community, and overall safety, making Brier one of the safest cities in Washington, if not the safest. I plan to continue to support our police department in any way that I can, which I currently do as a private citizen and business owner, and would like to take that to the level of councilor as well. My next issue I'd like to address is transparency in city government. Brier has had a long history of being a bit technologically antiquated, and that has limited, especially in the post-COVID era of technology and Zoom and whatnot. I want to open transparency into the happenings of City Hall to our public, both as a councilman and as a council as a whole. Going along with that, equal access. While it is easier for some members of our community, such as business owners, to be in contact with City Hall, I believe that's a right that should be shared by all members of our community, no matter what job they hold, position they are, or any other factors. I believe that all people have the right to know what's happening in their city and to have a voice in influencing it. And most importantly, I would say, is ensuring the fiscal responsibility of our elected in Brier. We're lucky to have a beautiful town, and I want it to remain that way. I want to reopen our parks. I want our parks to be clean. I want fiscal responsibility with our budget, whether it be police, roads, anything like that. I believe that fiscal responsibility is essential to continuing the prosperity that Brier has seen for many years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton.
I actually share a couple of the same things there. So as a city council member, I want to focus on three main things. First thing is transparency. I want to make it easier for every resident of Brier to be informed and be involved in the decisions and actions that affect our city. If you aren't able to attend every meeting, it can be hard to keep up with what's happening in our city council. Like when our roads went unplowed during winter of 2021, it was hard to find the answers as to why. And so I want to make it easier for every citizen of Brier to be aware of what happens in the meetings and how they can have their voice heard. This includes things like meeting recaps via email and social media, remote broadcasts of city council meetings, and online public forums. When more voices are heard and able to be engaged, I think our city will benefit. Second is safety. From what I've heard, people have lived in Brier for a long time. Brier used to be known as a city you didn't speed through. I think if you take a drive down Brier Road or Vine Road, where I live, it's easy to notice that people no longer think that way. Our city and surrounding areas are growing exponentially. This means more people, more traffic, and an increased need for safe streets. I want to create action plans for mitigating traffic, reducing speeders, and keeping Brier one of the safest cities in the country. This includes things like speed detecting signs, some of which have gone up recently, requesting a new comprehensive traffic study, speed bumps, and evaluating needs for stoplights. And last, community. Happy Sea Cucumber Day to all who celebrate, if y'all know that in Brier. Events like Sea Scare, places like Brier Park, and the semi-rural forest feel are some of my favorite things about Brier, and I want to ensure that our city continues to maintain these spaces and events for our community to come together and celebrate living here. I'll support our volunteer parks board in whatever ways I can in order to keep Brier a beautiful place and to come together. I'd love to see not only Brier Park improved, but our other green spaces there we go.
Ms. Rosman.
Thanks for having us tonight. So Brier's biggest issue, I think, is funding. As a bedroom community with small revenue base, Brier has many expenses and limited income. When I came on 3 years ago, I thought I was probably going to make a little more headway than I have, and I've really become educated in how we are limited by our income, which mostly comes from residential property taxes. So we want Brier to be a great place to live and raise a family, and we focus on making sure that the city runs, and we look for ways to keep costs as low as possible. Our staff's always on the lookout for grants to help us achieve these goals. One of the largest expenses in our budget is our police department, and I think I share the goal that have been expressed both by Mr. Young and Mr. Hamilton. We've made it clear that we want our own hometown police force, and it's a priority of the existing council. We've had a lot of improvements in the last year and a half, and council has funded a number of equipment purchases, including vehicles and radar guns. Safety starts with trust between neighbors, and so I share the goal for community. We can build community by continuing to sponsor events and connections, opportunities for neighbors to get to know each other better. We're seeing lots of new housing and state changes will take effect in 2026, allowing duplexes and accessory dwelling units on many parcels. Although we won't be reducing our minimum lot size, we must carefully review and update our code so that the city can accommodate more residences while maintaining our neighborhood feel. More people means more traffic, and we do see it on Brier Road and 228. In the short term, there's some common sense changes we can make to make busy intersections safer. And long term, I agree with Mr. Hamilton that we'll need to develop a comprehensive traffic calming plan to redirect some traffic away from Brier and slow the traffic coming through town. We'll need to work together with other small cities and urban areas to make sure that our needs, which can be very different from those in medium and large cities, are not overlooked by the legislature.
Thank you. Candidates will have 90 seconds for the next two questions. Timer, please adjust the clock. Beginning with Mr. Hamilton, what qualifications and experience make you a good choice to address these issues?
Thanks. So while elected experience isn't something I have yet, I do have over 10 years of experience working for companies like Amazon, REI, Atlassian, Travelocity.com, and Geocaching.com, and others. Throughout my career, my focus has always been on understanding customer wants and needs and helping build products that work in an easy and seamless way, while simultaneously achieving needs of the business. This connects directly with how I would approach city council. First and foremost, it's understanding the needs and wants of the people who live here, figuring out how to achieve those needs, and then balancing how we can make it work as a city. To work this way, I rely on research and data to inform decisions. At work, we do this through surveys, interviews, usability testing, things I can bring to the city council to help us make better informed decisions. In addition, I often coordinate between many different groups of people, including product owners, engineers, designers, and company executives, not all of whom agree all the time. My experience facilitating decision-making and driving towards a common goal while balancing multiple opinions and needs would come in handy in this position. I don't think running the city like a business is the right approach, but given my experience, I feel confident that I can bring useful business practices and data-driven approach to how we can run this city. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Rosman.
I was raised in a small town and I value a strong community. My volunteer work with schools and in the community has been focused on creating opportunities for families to come together, both for fun events and to advocate for their needs. I'm interested in policy and how thoughtful policies can improve people's lives. I love to read. In city council, I've come across many hundred page studies that have become helpful in understanding the intricacies of the policies that we're responding to and building ourselves. I love to learn new things about city management and to find solutions for challenges in the work that others have done. I have an analytical mind and I have professional experience also in IT as a professional project manager. And sorry, I lost my spot, which gives me an advantage with long-term planning and difficult budgetary decisions. I have an understanding of all the issues and not just reacting, but working and planning ahead. Value government transparency, and I do work to engage citizens in the decisions facing our city. I closely follow the state legislative process, and I reported back to council on bills that impact Brier. I can lean into the relationships I've established with state legislators when necessary to advocate for Brier's interests.
Thank you. Mr. Young.
Thank you. As a restaurateur, one of the things that I deal with on a daily basis is people's opinions and feedbacks coming to me almost daily, which I believe has really helped grow my humility and willingness to hear people out and make adjustments from there. I believe that's an essential quality in someone who represents a large group of people. The other aspect that I have experience in is I'm also a pilot, which has taught me to make decisions under pressure, think quickly, and react to ever-changing circumstances. My work with the Brier and Mountlake Terrace Chamber of Commerce has also given me a unique understanding of the businesses that we have here in Brier, many of which are run out of their homes, and which I think deserve representation on city councils. They often lack the formal backing of larger chambers. And probably most importantly, my work with our local nonprofit, Brier Helping Brier, has really given me a heart for the people of Brier, especially who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And the stories that I have heard from constituents coming and seeking help, and the way that this ever-changing world has impacted the daily lives of so many around us has been so, has added so much experience to what I know and my desire to represent those people. So thank you.
Thank you. Third question, we will begin with Ms. Rosman. Councils, commissions, and boards are required to deliberate and make decisions in public, and to hear from those whose ideas may differ. Please give us an example that demonstrates your ability to work in this way.
Thank you. People often ask me if we see a lot of conflict in our city council work, and really we don't. Although I agree with Mr. Young, Mr. Hamilton, that we benefit from a technological upgrade, the city does follow public meeting rules carefully. Our residents have the opportunity to know what issues are being discussed, what's being said, and can contribute to the conversation. Recently, during the conversations about the fire district annexation, we did have several residents come, not to comment about the fire annexation, but with other concerns about housing. And I've witnessed firsthand how people come in agitated and upset about some of the changes that are facing our city. And with the open communication and thoughtful consideration of the members of the council, Rarely do people leave upset. We're all working together towards a common goal. We want our families to be happy living here, and I feel that for the most part, we're able to reach that common ground when people come in, whether it's about housing or trees or development or street maintenance. We all have the same goals, and we're all trying to make things work well for everybody in Brier.
Thank you. Mr. Young.
One of my favorite quotes from psychologist Adam Grant is admitting that we have something to learn doesn't just show humility, it improves relationships. When we acknowledge that we don't know everything, others feel more psychologically safe and we all become more effective. This is a grounding tenet in how I live my life, is the idea that I certainly do not know everything. In my role, it is not so much about what kind of food I prepare for people. It's about hearing when they are dissatisfied rather than when they are satisfied. It is a position that has taken a lot of work in conflict resolution and meeting people when they're frustrated and pursuing an outcome that is beneficial to them. Most importantly, that is what I view this role as a city councilor, is the idea of making people feel heard. And when they're frustrated, especially hearing their frustration, working with them to abate it, and finding solutions that both represent the interests of Brier financially and the well-being of its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton.
Thanks. So anyone who's worked in a large organization for some time will know that ideas don't always align. I found the best way to work past it is to first align on our goals. A clear goal ensures that we're all working towards the same thing. From there, agreeing on how we'll make a decision will level the playing field for when it's time to move forward. Then it's all about listening and understanding differing opinions, evaluating the different directions, and then making a decision. And decisions can be messy. Sometimes it won't be perfect. Sometimes you won't have time to gather and evaluate all the variables. In those cases, it's important to understand if it's something we can test out first, or to make a mitigation plan if the results we're getting from that decision aren't what we're looking for. As far as those deliberations and decisions being public, I honestly think that only adds to the process. I want people to be able to see the deliberation process, understanding what thought went into it, why we made a certain decision, and if need be, call us out. We're just a group of people. We're not infallible, and we don't immediately have all the answers. Good ideas can come from anywhere. So when I'm on city council, I'd love to hear all of those ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Heimer, please note the candidates will have 60 seconds for our final question. And it is this. Please tell us something about your life experience that might surprise or intrigue voters, beginning with Mr. Young.
While it may not have much to do with a city council race, one thing that many people don't know about me is that I am actively pursuing relationships with, in the state of Washington, rehabilitation programs for people suffering from alcohol and narcotic abuse. I lost someone very close to me to the battle of addiction. And one of the things that I'm focusing on in my free time is creating partnerships with people out of these programs to give them specifically restaurant skill sets, which allow them to get back on their feet, to find work that is always there in this industry, and to have a shot at a fully rehabilitated life. My heart is for people. While I may be in business, and it's what consumes a good portion of my time, that's not where my passion lies. It's in people. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton?
Thanks. So last year, I ran my first, probably only ultra marathon. It was a 50K. That's about 31 miles. It's out on the Iron Horse Trail by Snoqualmie Pass. And so while I'm for sure happy for finishing, definitely proud of myself for doing that, I think I'm more happy that I committed to the training that went into it. It was several months of waking up super early every single Saturday to go for long training runs. There were a lot of days that I wasn't motivated, but it really cemented that I believe in determination over motivation. And so even towards the end of the race, everything hurt. I really just wanted to stop running, drink a beer, eat a whole pizza. But I pushed through to the finish. This experience helped keep in my mind that even when things get tough, I can always keep going and keep pushing. When I got to the finish line, saw my daughter, it was amazing. And then, of course, I ate an entire pizza and had a beer, and it was perfect.
Thank you. Ms. Rosman.
I've been an environmental activist since I was in high school, and we created a large mural of the rainforest when I was in 11th grade. I've worked towards environmental sustainability in many venues, more recently through my work with a regional group of parent leaders from different school districts. We learn about successes in other districts with energy conservation, greenhouse gas reduction, single-use plastic elimination, electrification of transportation fleets, tree canopy preservation, and even gardening programs. And after several years of advocacy with Edmond School District, we made tiny headways in different departments with LEED certified buildings and work towards transportation electrification. But I'm happy to share that we're making progress this year, and it looks like we'll be having a workshop with the Edmond School Board to see what they can do about making a district-wide resolution towards climate mitigation.
Thank you. The League appreciates these candidates for joining us and for running for office. A recording of this forum and others will be available on the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County website and YouTube channel. Find links at lwvsnoho.org. We encourage you to explore additional information about these and all candidates. The Snohomish County voter pamphlet will be mailed to residents starting on July 12th. Primary election ballots will be mailed starting July 13th, and Election Day is August 1st. Please be a voter. Thank you.